In 1985, punk rock met horror, and the result was one of the greatest zombie movies ever made, combining cool acting, awesome ambiance, gratuitous nudity, and a blend of comedy and horror that has yet to be matched today. But the question is, was it the first movie where brains was introduced? Find out on the horror slashes Behind the Blood, Return of the Living Dead. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Pelligra, host of the horror slashes Behind the Blood. Today we talk Return of the Living Dead. So let's get right to it. John A. Russo co-wrote Night of the Living Dead with George Romero. So the arrangement these two had was Russo would work on Return of the Living Dead, while Romero would work on his sequel to Dawn of the Dead, which was the sequel to Night of the Living Dead, which ended up being Day of the Dead. That being said, when it came down to production, litigation reared its ugly head and there was some conflict. But in the end, the MPAA ruled in favor of John A. Russo and Return of the Living Dead was good to go. Tom Fox was an investment broker who brought in the funds to option the script and fund the film. But not until Orion Pictures and Hemdale teamed up did the film actually get off the ground. Tom Fox ended up buying out Russo and brought in Dan O'Banion, who wrote the film that we all know and love today. In the end, John A. Russo did get a story credit, and more importantly, his relationship with George Romero remained intact. It was just business. Graham Henderson became a producing driving force behind Return of the Living Dead. Many attribute the actual film completion to him, although stories of him being a bully on set were definitely rampant. Return of the Living Dead was the very first film to make hunting brains the #1 modus operandi of zombies. More on that to come. Finding a director for Return of the Living Dead ended up being a little bit of a process. Originally, Russo was going to direct, but when he was out, Tobe Hooper was talked about. However, Tobe Hooper was busy with his other film, Life Force, and schedules conflicted, so he was out. So, Dan O'Banion kept lobbying to be the director of the film. He was already on board to write. In the end, they gave it to O'Banion, and how can you argue with the results? Cool O'Banion fact, he wrote Alien. Dan O'Banion's second-hand mate on the film was art director William Stout. However, the two weren't exactly BFFs. Actually, on this film, there were no BFFs. Beverly Randolph, who ended up playing Tina, auditioned for Return of the Living Dead in Dan O'Banion's house, so kind of weird. When she got there, there were guns on the table, so kind of weird to scary. Oh, and porn playing on the television. That is just messed up. Anyway, she got the part. Miguel Nunez, who played Spider, actually got the role while he was homeless. Linnea Quigley got the role of Trash when the actual original actress who was supposed to play Trash got pregnant. And with that twist of fate, one of the most famous Scream queens was born. Actually, the character of Trash was originally named Legs, but got changed to Trash. Jewel Shepard, the party girl, originally was Dan O'Banion's first choice to play Trash. Dan O'Banion recruited her in a strip club, but she said no because the role required nudity. Man, you got some serious sales issues if a stripper says no to do nudity in your film, just saying. Actually, Jewel Shepard was a little bit of a thorn on the set, clashing with a lot of actors and holding up production with her green set experience. Jewel has gone on record to say she never fucked Dan O'Banion, which is absolutely fantastic news. I don't know why it's on record. Mark Venturini played Suicide, the leader of this punk gang, and he had one of the cooler death scenes in the film. However, it wasn't cool to him. He was a little upset that he died so soon in the film and didn't get to hang around because he was having such a good time. Sadly, he passed away from leukemia at a rather young age, and one of the rumors, ironically, was that he committed suicide. I don't know if that was just combined with the fact that he played Suicide, but many of the cast and crew recall Venturini to be a very, very kind and generous actor to work with, and he's sorely missed. Awesome character actor James Karen was cast first actually on this film and was beloved by most of the cast for his beloved storytelling. Well, for the most part, some of them had attitude. The character of Ernie, played by Don Calfa, was actually rumored to be a Nazi, based on him sharing his name with Nazi officer Ernst Kaltenbrunner. There are also character details that provide indications of his past. Germans show pity on my soul. Ernie listens to German Afrika Korps march song Panzers Rolling in Afrika Vor on his Walkman while he embalms bodies. He carries a German Walther P-38, has a picture of Eva Braun in his morgue, and refers to the rainstorm coming down like "in Bertrucken Soldat," which means a drunk soldier in German. However, if we're going by my German enunciation, it probably doesn't. And he really seems to know his way around a crematorium and seems genuinely upset when he finds out that the zombies don't feel pain. And if that doesn't prove it, Dan O'Banion himself on a DVD extra said that he envisions Ernie as an escaped Nazi. But if you throw all that away, he's so fun and lovable. Clu Gulager, who played Bert, was actually cast a day before production, and Tom Matthews was cast basically because he was cool. Everybody liked him. If you're Tom Matthews, that's a mic drop. On July 9th, 1984, the film began shooting and ran until August 18th of the same year, roughly around 6 weeks. SSQ's song Tonight was used in the Tombstone strip dance. However, when they shot the film, they used Nasty Girl by Vanity. When it came time to shoot the now infamous Tombstone strip dance, Linnea Quigley exposed her popular back then in the 80s pubic hair. This was coincidentally one of the days producer Graham Henderson showed up on set. He actually went ballistic when he saw what was being shot. She was taken from set and actually shaved. Yeah, this gets weirder. And then promptly thrown back on set to redo the scene. However, it doesn't end there. Henderson still was not pleased. Henderson was then upset that you could see everything. Once again, Linnea Quigley, who must be the greatest sport of all time, was taken back to the makeup room. They created a prosthetic vagina, and that is what you see in the film. So all you horny little kids when you were younger, freeze framing your VHS tape, trying to see Linnea Quigley on that tombstone, you were had. I was had. Shame. While Dan O'Banion delivered us an awesome film, his directing style was not for everybody. In fact, he was very, very difficult for the actors. The scene where Beverly had to run from the tar man up the stairs and the stair breaks, he inserted an actual broken step and didn't tell her about it. The pain you see on her face when she breaks through that step, that's real. So while he was hailed as being a great writer and director, his reputation on set really took a beating, from manhandling actors to yelling and berating crew to actually shooting scenes dozens and dozens and dozens of times for what many consider no reason but to torture the actors. Some of the extras actually ate calf brains for this film to make it more realistic. But Dan O'Banion didn't want anybody doing anything that he didn't want to do. So in front of them, he actually mowed down some calf brains. So what a guy. This mistreatment of actors came to a head when veteran actor Clu Gulager decided to take matters into his own hands and actually chased Dan around the set with a baseball bat, threatening to smash his brains in. And while 30 years later, Clu Gulager denies that this ever happened, 30 other witnesses on set do not. After that, the lead pipe that Clu uses in the film, which was actually a real lead pipe, was replaced secretly by the props department with rubber one, in fear that he would kill the director. William Munns was credited with the makeup and special effects for Return of the Living Dead. However, this was not a clear-cut credit. Munns underdelivered with the Yellow Man to the point where they had to bring in someone else to complete the effect. Redemption came for Munns in the creation of the Tar Man, the most famous zombie in the film. So, he's safe now, right? No. When Munns was asked to deliver the skeleton in the opening sequence, he significantly underdelivered, and the production had no choice but to swiftly let him go. But hey, he gave us the Tar Man. Alright, so on to some lighthearted stuff. So two of the heroes of the film were named Bert and Ernie, which was an obvious reference to the Sesame Street characters, right? Wrong. It was actually coincidental. Dan O'Banion had no idea that he was naming his two main characters after beloved puppets. In a play off the two characters being named Bert and Ernie, the two paramedics, who actually had no names in the film, were referred to as Tom and Jerry. One of the questions asked was, what were in the garbage bags that were supposedly rabid weasels? Was it really rabid weasels? The answer, yes. I'm just joking. It's actually illegal to have rabid weasels in a garbage bag. They used rabid squirrels for that scene. All right, messing with you again. It was actually sex toys all put on vibrate, and the bags, I'm joking. All right, so the truth is, it was those stupid little ugly monkey things with the crash symbols. They took off the crash symbols, threw them all in bags, and that's what made the rabid weasel. In order to create a congested gravesite, they rented every single graveyard prop from Universal Studios. The skeleton seen climbing up in that sequence where the zombies are coming to life was played by Brian Peck, who played Scuzz. Jules Shepard apparently had a tremendous amount of difficulties with the line, "Go choke a chicken."
Go choke a chicken.
How? You're a stripper. Apparently it took 45 takes. How do you not know that phrase if you're a stripper? And even if you don't, even if you're a childcare worker, 45 takes? While the film plays really fun, and it looks like it was a fun movie to be a part of, the truth is there was a lot of head-to-heads on that set. Let's try and break a few down. Calfa and Nunez got physical. Beverly had trust issues with O'Bannon. Nunez and Stout didn't like each other. Peck and Shepard didn't get along. Clu Gulager wanted to kill O'Bannon. O'Bannon and Shepard butted heads. James Karen and Clu Gulager butted heads. Henderson and O'Bannon always had issues. John Philbin thought James Karen was a goof, and everybody hated Jules Shepard. So who's left, you ask? Well, it seems that Venturini, Tom Matthews, and Linnea Quigley stayed clear of all the drama. So congratulations to you guys. But hey, the movie plays fun, so who cares? Interesting tidbit, Miguel Nunez and Vinatieri went on to do Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning.
Hi, Vic. You get lost.
And Tom Matthews went on to star in Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. James Karen actually came up with the idea to cremate himself, and Dan O'Bannon thought it was a really cool idea and went along with it. At one point in production, Don Calfa actually got sick on set, and paramedics were sent and were actually kind of confused by his makeup.
You saying we're dead?
Well, let's not jump to conclusions.
Are you saying we're dead?
Look, obviously I didn't mean you were really dead.
Almost 1 year after the film wrapped, it was released on August 16th, 1985. Some alternate titles in Germany, Verdammt die Zombies kommen, which is roughly translated into, damn it, the zombies are coming. Some of the cool taglines for the film were, they're hungry and they're not vegetarians. And another tagline that I like is, first they want to meet you, then they want to eat you. The Danish title, Legin Leneglide, loosely translated, the dead don't care, and sorry Germany and Denmark. A book entitled The Complete History of the Return of the Living Dead by authors Christian Sellers and Gary Smart was released in 2010. The book includes hundreds of previously unseen images, exclusive interviews with most cast and crew. So why brains? Well, according to Dan O'Bannon, the brain produces endorphins. Okay, that's not exactly according to Dan O'Bannon, that's just medical science. Endorphins are a natural opiate, not unlike heroin or morphine, that helps humans get that feel-good feeling and helps us cope with pain and stress. So that is why zombies go for brains, to feel better. They are also no good filthy addicts in every sense of the phrase. The film has gone on to be a favorite for genre lovers, and to this day the blend of comedy and horror is probably unmatched, and that says a lot. Also, it is one of the greatest zombie movies ever made, and almost every zombie fan will attest to that. The film has gone on to zombie legendary status. Everybody who loves zombie films loves this film. In fact, it might be their favorite film. The blend of comedy and horror is brilliantly done and probably still unmatched today. Return of the Living Dead was also very well received. The money on opening weekend poured in over $4 million, which back then was a big deal. Grossed $14,237,000. It was released August 16, 1985. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 54 minutes. Its production budget was $4 million and it was rated R. So once again, being a low-budget horror film, there was lots of locations used in Return of the Living Dead that could be visited. Here's a few. Las Olivas Road is the cemetery. Well, that's the site where the grave scenes were shot. However, since then, houses have been built over. Freddy's Friends Out Cruising. In the scene where all the punk rockers are driving down their car, that's 250 North Myers Street. And the big one in Return of the Living Dead is the Unita Medical Supply. Well, that is at 698 Moulton Avenue, Los Angeles, California. Well, that's it for the horror slashes behind the blood on Return of the Living Dead. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments below, hit the notifications tab, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and we'll see you soon.